I know what you're thinking. Oh no, not another Simpsons video. Just kidding, nobody thinks that. That's why the show has been on for 28 seasons, featuring over 250 episodes, along with a movie that, might we say, actually holds up. With all of the years that it's been on, can you imagine how many parodies and references there have been? Thousands, and how many of those did we not notice? Hey everyone, I'm Justin with channel Frederator, and we're going to tap into the duff keg of references that we may have missed that deserve to be mentioned, so grab a koozie. Tarantino! There are so many references to choose from, so we're going to focus on ones that seem to show the staff's fondness for the properties and/or creators. First up, Quentin Tarantino. A reference that may come to mind for many fans is Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs. There's been a couple of shoutouts to this film in The Simpsons, one that pays homage by imitating the introductory scene in which George Baker's song Little Green Bag accompanied Lisa Simpson as she recruited forlorn and abandoned animals with a Tarantino spin. Another throw to Reservoir Dogs is in the episode Simpsicalifragilisticexpialidocious. Tarantino himself actually guest directs an episode of Itchy and Scratchy called Reservoir Cats. On top of that, the animated Tarantino comes out and talks about violence in TV, but then gets his head chopped off by Itchy. The voice of Tarantino was actually played by Dan Castellaneta, who does the voice of Homer because Tarantino declined. Next up on the Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction. In the season 7 episode, we see Chief Wiggum crossing the street in a classic visual from Pulp Fiction that they nailed. Snake then runs Wiggum over and the two begin to fight. They roll into Herman's shop, who captures them at gunpoint. Thank God they stopped there because the movie gets a little out of hand at that point. Funny thing about this episode is that it's called 22 Short Films About Springfield, which is a cool throw to the movie 32 Short Films About Glenn Gould, a series of biographical shorts about a pianist. Maybe we should have called this piece 22 Short References. So good. Kubrick. Upon further Springfield research, there is one filmmaker that the Simpsons staff pays tribute to even more than Tarantino: Kubrick. Clockwork Orange alone has been referenced in many episodes, but we'll give you just 3 of them here. In Duffless, the 16th episode of the 4th season, there's a moment when Bart goes to grab 2 cupcakes, each with a cherry on top, but then lets the fear get the best of him and falls over. This mirrors the scene in Clockwork Orange where Alex goes to grab a woman's chest, but then falls over in fear. Dog of Death, the 19th episode of the 3rd season, features the famous eye-opening scene of the film, you know, where the guy has his eyes pried open. In the Simpsons episode, Santa's little helper has his eyes pried open and is forced to watch violent films to condition him to be more violent himself. Aw, poor little guy. Episode 4 of season 26, Treehouse of Horror XXV, features a segment called Clockwork Yellow, which is pretty much a parody of the entire Clockwork Orange movie. Orange, you glad I didn't say, alright, I'm done. But the Kubrick references don't stop there. His film Full Metal Jacket was referenced in the season 17 episode My Fair Lady, when Coach Krupp says, "What is your major malfunction, Simpson?" A reference to the line from the film. The whole scene, in fact, is similar to a scene in the film, from Bart's look on his face to the visual angles used. Also, Kubrick's Dr. Strangelove has a nod in episode 11 from season 5, called Homer the Vigilant. Homer dreams about riding a nuclear bomb into the ground, mirroring the famous scene from Dr. Strangelove. In season 5, episode 15, Deep Space Homer, we find Homer mimicking the film 2001: A Space Odyssey, when he starts eating potato chips while floating in the shuttle. This is similar to the scene in the film where the space shuttle docks. Seems like the season 5 staff had a Stan fan amongst them. There's almost too many Kubrick references to mention here, but we have to give a shout out to a few more as honorable mentions. The mirrored scenes from The Shining in Treehouse of Horror 5, and again in Treehouse of Horror XXV. The many Kubrick references in the 25th Treehouse of Horror, including Eyes Wide Shut, Barry Lyndon, and more. 2001: A Space Odyssey spoofs, and Kubrick himself even being featured in an episode in the segment A Clockwork Yellow of Treehouse of Horror XXV. Is he secretly on the staff? Horror. Horror is definitely not the first thing that comes to mind when you think of The Simpsons, but it's definitely on their minds. We all look forward to the Treehouse of Horror episodes and their eccentric take on Halloween, not to mention their fun name parodies and puns at the end of each episode. One of the funniest being when they just put the Republican Party. They took a stab at Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds in the episode A Streetcar Named Marge, and canonized Mr. Burns as Cannibal Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs in Marge vs. the Monorail. Parodies of the film Psycho have been cited at least twice in the episode Black Widower, as well as the episode Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. And let's not forget Bram Stoker's Dracula arose on Treehouse of Horror 4. What's your favorite Simpsons horror reference? Let us know in the comment section down below. There have been tons of musical numbers throughout these 28 seasons. many that were original numbers, but also a bunch that were references to other famous songs. The song Spider Pig from the Simpsons movie was actually written by Hans Zimmer as a joke poking fun at the original animated Spider-Man song, but when people heard it, they insisted that it be used for the movie because it was hilarious. Thus it slung its way into the film and our hearts, and clearly they were right, because it's become one of the most famous silly Simpsons songs in history, even being performed at the Hollywood Bowl's The Simpsons Take on the Bowl event in 2014. That's right, Spider Pig was performed beautifully in classical style by the Gay Men's Chorus of Los Angeles, dressed as stonecutters, accompanied by Hans Zimmer's orchestra. Beauty and the Beast received its Simpsons debut with the song See My Vest, sung by Mr. Burns in the episode 201 Greyhounds. To explain why he stole Santa's little helper's puppies, yeah, he wants to skin them all alive. Maybe that should go into the horror section, but it's also a 101 Dalmatians reference with a Beauty and the Beast song, so that's a double Disney for you. One of the funniest songs that many fans will recognize is in Season 5, Episode 9, spoofing the song Mandy by Barry Manilow. It's sung by Homer when Marge gives him a turkey. "Oh Margie, you came and brought me a turkey on my vacation away from worky." What are the original lyrics, you ask? Well, "Oh Mandy, well you came and you gave without taking, but I sent you away, oh Mandy." Props to Barry Manilow for creating a classic, but I think Homer still takes the cake for this one. Those are our favorite song references in The Simpsons, but here are a few honorable mentions for you. Number 1, The Simpsons parodied the Schoolhouse Rock cartoons The Amendment song using the original singer. Number 2, in the episode Lisa the Vegetarian, Paul McCartney says that playing Maybe I'm Amazed backwards has a recipe for lentil soup. The closing credits plays the song instead of the normal Simpsons theme music. More movies and TV. There are so many movie references we had to just hit a few more. 30 minutes over Tokyo. Marge says, "Come on Homer, Japan will be fun. You liked Rashomon." Homer replies, "That's not how I remember it." This is a joke in reference to the Rashomon effect, which is a term that has been used by a number of different scholars, film critics, and journalists to refer to contradictory interpretations of the same event by different persons, a problem that arises in the process of uncovering truth, or at least that's how I remember it. The name comes from the 1950 Akira Kurosawa's film Rashomon, in which a crime witnessed by 4 individuals is described in 4 mutually contradictory ways. In the same episode, it is also referenced by Homer saying, "How much damage could a fat man and a little boy do in Japan?" Fat Man and the Little Boy were the 2 bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki that ended World War II. Hey, you know, I didn't say they were the best references, just ones that we might have missed. Pretty much the entire episode of How I Met Your Mother is a parody of the Christopher Nolan film Inception. Homer and the family go into a dream, within a dream, within a dream, within a dream, and within a dream. They pretty much take turns going into each other's dreams from another dream. Yeah, I know, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but just watch it for yourself. They even have a similar climactic scene to the film where everything is crumbling, and then Homer finally makes his peace before leaving the dream. Now for some TV. Does the word Futurama sound familiar? It should, because it shares a father with The Simpsons, Matt Groening. Groening likes to sprinkle in hints of his other shows within The Simpsons, so let's see if there's one that we might have missed. In the episode Married to the Mob, a classmate of Lisa's actually wears a Futurama t-shirt. This episode premiered months before Futurama first debuted. Bender, a talking robot and main character in Futurama, makes multiple cameos as seen in Missionary Impossible, Bart vs. Lisa versus the 3rd grade, and Future Drama, just to name a few. In the episode Fraudcast News, a squeaky-voiced teen asks why did they cancel Futurama before jumping off a cliff, and in Simprovise, Bender walks across the screen with a sign that says "Bring back Futurama. Bite my shiny metal," sorry, wrong show. Everyone's favorite, politics. We can't leave out the politics in the show. Homer is known for drinking one thing and one thing only, Duff beer. So when he strays away from his drink of choice, it's usually for some specific reason. In the episode The Auto Show, Homer finds a 30-year-old can of Billy beer when he tries on an old jacket. Homer is seen drinking the beer again, and Lisa the skeptic washing it down before saying, "We elected the wrong Carter." This is a reference to Billy Beer being created by Billy Carter, the younger brother of President Jimmy Carter. Billy Beer actually existed and was endorsed by President Carter himself. There are still unopened cans available today on eBay, or possibly in some forgotten concert jackets. In the episode Lisa's Substitute, Bart is elected by his peers to run for class president. Bart spends the debate making jokes and making fun of his opponent, the bookish Martin. Bart calls the election a popularity contest and wins over his classmates by promising them whatever they want. Unfortunately, only Martin and his best friend remembered to vote, leading Martin to win in a landslide of 2 votes. Martin poses with a school paper that says Simpsons beat Prince, referring to the historic win of President Truman over Thomas E. Dewey, where the Chicago Daily Tribune printed their papers early, overly confident that Truman would lose. Well, that's it. We named every reference ever in The Simpsons ever. No, we actually didn't. But we want to hear which ones are your favorite and which ones did we miss. Let us know in the comment section down below. I'm Justin with Channel Frederator, and thanks for watching. We have new videos every day, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and little bell icon to become part of that awesome notification squad. Because remember, Frederator loves you.